10 questions heading into the ELF Season 5. Let's talk about it.
We doing everything they talk about. You know I'm everything a boss about. Not putting work and gotta...
Listen, day by day, hour by hour, night by night, we are getting closer and closer to the start of ELF Season 5, Week 1 kickoff, May 17th. It's an exciting time. It's definitely a good time to start thinking about what your team's going to look like. Training camp has started. Americans and Euros have been reported. Homegrowns are laying the foundation and working to be key contributors this year. And this is going to be the season, the most talented season, the most experienced season when we're talking players and coaches. And I got 10 questions heading into Season 5 that I want to talk about with the locker room. And you guys let me know your thoughts. All right, 10 questions we should think about heading into 5. So I'll start from the bottom. I'll start from 10, go all the way up to 1, and we'll see where this goes. All right, let's start at number 10. Number 10, will the floor be raised in the European League of Football, right? We already know the top teams. We already know the top 3 teams that have been there for the past year and a half, and we kind of know that bunch in the middle that's been fighting to get to that next step. But with this big talk about competitive competition and, equal games and, is it even a good product? The ELF did a good job of scheduling this year, but it's the job of the teams on those bottom tiers to raise the floor in the European League football. So who are those teams? I'm talking about the Pragues. I think they got better. The Enthroners, I think they got better. Helvetic made a lot of splashy signings. Cologne, even though they went 6-6 last year, what are they going to be this year? Berlin, they're a young team. Is the floor going to be raised for those teams to at least get towards like that middle pack, and is that middle pack that even challenge those top tier teams? So, number 10, will the floor be raised in the European League football? Number 9, Raiders. Can the Raiders weather the storm? We already know it's been documented, one of the toughest schedules in the league this year. When you think about their out-of-conference games, Vienna, Cologne, Rhine, on top of playing in the Central where you got Madrid, Munich, Helvetic, it's going to be a dogfight this year for the Raiders. Can they weather the storm? Remember, this is a team that over the past couple of years has been 8-4. Can they – and we're looking to see if they can get over the hump, especially with their rivalry versus Vienna, who's dominated them since – they've all joined in the European League of Football. So will the Raiders weather the storm of one of the hardest schedules heading into the season? The Raiders this year was Vlosov last year. They had one of the hardest schedules. We saw how that panned out. They were able to at least get to 6-6, but we want to see them better. If they do, I tell you what, talking about that last question, that will increase and continue to improve the quality of play when teams on paper have the hard schedule and they're able to weather and compete with those teams up top. So we're going to see. Number 8, the Vlosov Panthers. Can they trust and fix their issues? Can they trust and do they fix their issues? Kind of a 2-part question. What do I mean by that? First, let's start with trust. We know this is an organization that has had issues with stability at quarterback, to say it nicely. Issues with stability at quarterback. Are they going to stick, and can they hold true to DJ Irons at quarterback, even if it doesn't go their way over the first month and a half? All right, do they have a long leash, for him before feeling like will they have to make a transition? I don't think that should ever be a conversation. I think DJ should, deserve, the amount of time needed to prove he is the guy. I don't think Stephen Duncan last year had enough time to at least prove it. But can they trust their quarterback issues that they've had in the past, and did they fix their DB issues? They spend more money. They spend more money and got more Euros at DBs, even though they lose William James. They bring in 2 and Akila Ishik and Milos to play DB as well. Front 7, they're gonna be good. They bring back Carlos Bronze, DN. That's always gonna help the secondary. AJ Wentland, we all know that. So can they trust and fix their issues? We'll see. Number 7, Helvetic. Did Helvetic do enough? Let me rephrase that. What's it going to look like for Helvetic to turn the page? Their mantra heading into the season, TTP, turn the page. They had a good offseason. They did what they can to secure a lot of homegrowns. The Swiss season is still going. It's going to end June, July. Let's see if they could dabble into that market and bring some guys back on the roster that will improve and, make this roster even better than what it is now. I still have questions on the O-line. The depth of O-line. I have major questions about the secondary, especially as a former secondary, former DB here. They're deep at linebacker. They got some guys up front. Obviously, you signed Keelan Cole. You got Milan Spiller. They got some nice young receivers that I think, might surprise some people this year. But what's it going to look like for Helvetic to turn the page? Hard schedule. You got Paris. You got Nordic. You go through the Central. You got Prague. So we'll see. And Prague's been better too. But what's it going to look like for Helvetic to turn the page, right? All right. 6. Was the loss in the semifinals last year the best thing that happened to the Surge? Think about that for a second, right? Was the loss last year in the Rhine Fire in the semifinals the best thing that happened to the Stuttgart Surge, right? Riley Hennessy just gave an awesome interview to Fourth Down Fiasco, and I encourage you all to go check that out, and I will drop the link in my description below. And he gave a lot of insight on that game and his mindset. Why is he returning? Where is he at mentally? And the team heading into this year. Awesome interview by the guys in Fourth Down Fiasco with Riley Hennessy. Now, that loss, we're not going to know until the end of the season what that loss and how it's affecting the Surge. Remember, this is going to be a different Surge team for sure. Their D-line is ferocious on paper. When you look at the guys that they were able to bring in, Berard, Groomby, you got Chris Malumba, you got other guy, I forgot his name, played for the Raiders last year. Bregson just did a breakdown on him. The name's not coming to me right now, and they're interesting. They're interesting defense, a little unorthodox, but they always apply pressure. They always find a way to get turnover. So the Surge are going to be fine. But that impact of that loss, is it going to lead to a championship season? What does success look like for the Surge this year, right? I'm not going to speak for him, and this is not breaking news. I'm not reporting anything, but this could be Riley's last year, all right? And looking at the team and the group of guys that have been there over the past couple of years, I'm sure – not just for Riley. I'm sure they just want to win to win. And the championship game is in Stuttgart, right? So that loss last year, how's it going to affect the Stuttgart Surge heading into this year? Marcus, let me know what you think about that, my friend. Falling for the trap with Frankfurt again. Last year, Frankfurt came in with a lot of hype. Markel Castle, Luke Zaraka, Sandro Platzkummer, Steven Nielsen coming into play. And they've had a great offseason this year, right? They bring in a lot of good guys. That team is deep, right? Matthew McKay is at quarterback. Sandro Platzkummer's back, and he actually ended the season better last year than when he got up to the start. There's been a lot of talks about the DBs that they brought in. You still got Josh Poshnowski in there. You still got, I believe, Gautier still at linebacker, Anthony Hoare. So up front and the D-line. So we'll see. Even though they lost Carlos Bronson to Rossoff, are we falling? Is the hype real? Are we falling for the trap again with Frankfurt? I'm going to say this right now. I think Frankfurt is better preseason this year than they were last year, and I was excited about them last year. So if I'm falling for the trap, that's on me. That's on me. Talked about this briefly, but I want to bring it up again. And this is not a shade or anything like that, but just think about it for a second. What is the true difference between Zach Magic Edwards and Jaylen Henderson? Most of that Paris team is coming back. So the floor of expectation should be playoffs at least, right? Obviously, you go through the Surge, you go through Cologne, go through Frankfurt. They're in a hard schedule. They're in a hard division. And then you got some other out of conference. You got Vienna, you got Helvetic. So it's going to be tough for Paris. The roster's set, even though it's not announced. The roster's pretty set for the most part. They just signed Kevin Fortes. You bring in American up front, big boy, strong man. Who else are they bringing in? So to say, looks like they're gonna be a little bit more run heavy with Vumble and Cantor are running back. I'm hearing Matt Bregson announcing on ELF Live how LaRose could be moving to tight end. Right, so we'll see. But when you look at the difference in terms to what the next step should look like, could look like, and how they could be better, I'm not saying Jaylen has to be better, but he has to have a bigger impact than what Zach did, even though they're two different type of quarterbacks, if that makes sense. Remember, this is a team that was one game away from the championship game. All right. Zach didn't come back for personal reasons, well documented. And you bring in an experienced NFL head coach in Del Rio. High expectations for Paris. Is Jaylen Henderson in the background he's coming from enough? Remember, it's well documented. Over almost 100-something touchdowns. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but the guy was a dog in the GFL. Is Jaylen Henderson going to be enough to push Paris over the edge? Hamburg at number 3. Question: are they really back? Or is Hamburg really back? We thought this last year. Didn't really go that well. They bring Coach Fatah, different mindset. Coach of the German national team. You bring Kyle Kitchens, Nazir Streeter, Rodion Henrique at the other corner, deep at linebacker. A lot of depth and a lot of money put into their linebacker group. Deep at receiver, Terrion Robinson. You got Bamba. You got Nordberger. You got Still. Mike Leon is at quarterback. We'll see. Is Hamburg actually really back? I think they'll be better. I'm not trying to influence you one way or another, but I think they'll be better just based off everything I hear about their coach and just listening to Kyle and Nazir Streeter interviewing them, talking about the mindset of what this team's going to look like. So we'll see. Nazir gets to be there for a full year now, and the homegrown's running him back. So we'll see. We'll see if Hamburg's really back. Number 2. Are we overrating the Nordic Storm? Right? A lot of hype about this team. Warranted with the accolades and the accomplishments of the guys that they brought in. Listen, I get it, right? This team hasn't played it down yet. You're only as good as your homegrowns. These homegrowns are new to the European League football outside of a couple guys like Theo Landstrom. These are a bunch of babies heading into the league with not this type of experience, right? So, should we slow down on Nordic? Are we overrating Nordic? I like the makeup of their team, but they're gonna have to go through the Rhine Fire. They're gonna have to go through Berlin. I think Hamburg's on their schedule too. They got some other out of conference games. Nordic is gonna be a fun team to follow this year, right? Because they're coming in with a lot of hype. Way more hype than what Madrid came in last year. And Madrid actually performed well for a first-time team, right? Can Nordic have the same impact that Madrid did last year? Madrid actually beat the Fire last year. Obviously, that's well documented, right? So I think should we slow down Nordic? Maybe a little bit. Obviously, it's all decided in between the white lines, but are we overrating Nordic just a little bit? Are we excited to have that team and maybe just giving them a little bit too much juice? I don't know. You guys decide. Number 1, Fire. Is this three-peat real? We saw what happened when the Chiefs tried to three-peat. Is this three-peat real? This is a team that's going to have to go through, I got it here, Berlin, Hamburg, Raiders, Nordic, Paris, Vienna. God damn. Is Chad Jeffries going to be able to lead this team to the three-peat without a Glenn Tunga? But, offensive-minded coach, heavy on the offensive line. All right, great receivers. I like their receiver group. Defense, basically, the whole team returns. All right, so we'll see. But these are my questions. 10 burning questions heading into season 5 of the ELF. You guys drop a comment. Let me know what you think, and we'll see. We'll see how these pan out.